Okay, guys, so Doom, man, it fucking sucks. Like, I mean, the thing is, right? Doom 2016 comes along, then Doom Eternal comes along, and they're like, let's just fucking do everything that no one wanted. Like,
that's right.
Just
totally.
A lot of gunplay.
That's exactly what I said in my review. I mean, check out the like ratio. That's clearly what I said in my review. So
a lot of just going into rooms and just feeling like an absolute god and killing heaps of demons and zombies and whatever.
Ridiculous.
Like, no one wanted that, and they did it.
You failed us, Sid. You failed us big time.
And they did it very well. Let's drop this and let's talk about Doom. Okay, guys, I'm doing impressions today. Ralph is doing, because I got back from my boat trip and I just want to try and get,
cruise ship, Sam.
Cruise ship. So we are strapped for time, everybody. Plus, we've got to do Half-Life Alyx this week. God, there's a few things to do. Ralph is coming from the point of view of a review. I'm coming from the point of view of impressions. Now, I loved 2016 Doom. I finished it last year in front of the stream, actually, Twitch. They were all watching me die many times. I was excited about this. I have jumped on, and no surprise, it's a fantastic game in a lot of ways. Now, there are some things that I'm not loving, to be honest. Unpopular opinion. But
how dare you say anything bad about Doom?
This is the thing, right? If you say anything bad about Doom, The Witcher, Ocarina of Time... Well, actually, there's nothing bad to say about the Ocarina of Time, let's be real. But,
there's nothing bad to say about Witcher. No, if you say The Witcher's combat is average, all these people descend on you and they're like, how dare you say that? You just don't understand how to use potions correctly. I swear to God that'll happen. But there are some things definitely that because overall I think this is just an absolutely phenomenal game. But I personally think that Doom 2016 is a better overall package, and I think it's just going to sound really weird. I think Doom Eternal is more fun to play. Okay, I do think that. Because I think the advanced movement mechanics they brought to the table and just the speed and pace of it is just fucking awesome.
Yep.
But I think as an overall package, with like its presentation, with its visuals, with its storytelling, with this sort of like the consistency of its world, I just felt there was just nothing I would change about Doom 2016. I just feel like it's a perfect video game.
Yeah.
Versus, I just feel like with Eternal, there's actually quite a few things I would change. You know what I mean?
I feel like when 2016 came along, it's been a while since I played a Doom game, right? I think a lot of people, right? Everyone knows the story. They were kind of, going back and forth of how they were going to release the new Doom, and then they kind of nearly went bankrupt and blah, 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 and Bethesda came along or whatever.
Good guy Bethesda saved.
Good guy Bethesda
you.
did save the day.
We love you,
day.
Bethesda. Thank you.
And I think it was a bit of a shock to the system to jump on and play 2016 because it was just like, holy shit, like what is this?
Sure.
This is fantastic. And there was a bit of courage. It was so courageous. No, but
Would you say it was stunning? Would you say it was stunning, Sam?
Stunning and courageous.
Right.
And I think that what I have felt with this one is there is this natural, I think, need sometimes when you make the second of something. It could be the second movie or the second game of something, art in general, that you feel the need to throw extra things in because you need to like justify why there's a second one. And I felt like there was a couple of things that for me that I'm just not digging. And the first
what are you
one
not digging? What are you not digging?
Is the grabbing onto a wall and feeling like I could beat Spider-Man in a race around Manhattan. Like, that's what it feels like.
The platforming.
And honestly, the platforming.
Right,
I feel like Slayer, for me, 2016 Doom at least, was just very much more, he's like a thick boy. He just like walks into a room and he's just like, abiding by the rules of gravity. I don't know, I felt like it took me out of the Doom guy that I kind of know and love,
I know what you mean. I think it's necessary to have some downtime between combat, and I think that because I agree with you, I don't think the platforming is great. I don't think it's terrible, by the way. I'm not like, this ruins Doom. I can't believe it's so terrible.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I definitely think it's not great. And I think it is important to have downtime in Doom, right? You can't just be killing stuff endlessly for 15 hours. Like, it just would be exhausting. But I think the method of downtime that they use isn't quite right. It just feels so separate from the rest of the game. It just feels so like, it just doesn't feel right, And I look at like Titanfall 2's campaign. Did you play that, by the way?
No, I didn't.
No, right, okay. It's fantastic, and it's got some amazing environmental traversal puzzles that still really fit within the spirit of that game. So, yeah, for Doom Eternal, I was like, cool, platforming exists. It should exist in some form, I think. It makes sense that it exists. but I think it should have just been. Did you do any of the purple goo in the ground, by the way?
Oh yes, okay. That's what I also want to talk about.
And that was like, come on, man.
I'm like,
no, don't do this.
For me, well, before we get there, I felt like, you know, when you come out of combat, they were obviously wanting to give you something like cerebrally, you know, is still engaging. So they're like, okay, let's give them some puzzles and let's give them some shit to like pole vault over to still keep it engaging while it's in downtime, right?
Yeah.
I just don't think it was the way to do it. I agree with that. Secondly, the goo, the moment I experienced the goo, I was like, okay, the developers are clearly, in my opinion, the developers are feeling like they need to hamstring you because they've given you so much like, just like, you know, Hulk powers of jumping around and shit.
Sure. And I think that's true. Yeah, they have done that. They were looking for that contrast there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you get to the underwater sections?
No, I didn't.
Oh man, the underwater sections is bad. Literally, there's underwater, like water temple stuff in Doom Eternal. Do you know what I mean? So that's the platforming side. I think the biggest changes, though. Actually, let's talk about the story first. How are you digging the story side of things?
Look, I mean, go kill high priests and all this kind of business, and you know, Doom 2016 was famous for let's not really give you a story smack bang in your face. You've got to like search around for lore. You've got to understand the story through the environment and through the little bits and pieces that they want to offer you.
Yeah.
Did I feel engaged in this story the amount that I experienced? No, I didn't, to be honest. A lot of the time I'm like, High Priest, what? Cool, whatever. When's the next room to kill more demons? You know, like that's all I really cared about.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I didn't love it, and I was actually quite excited for this sort of storytelling because I was like, cool. They sort of made it so that the Doomslayer was descended from this sort of like order of, you know, slayers and whatever else, and all this history and lore behind it. But it kind of just felt really generic when you actually got to it. You're like, you sort of heard a lot of that stuff before. And I think that Doom 2016 kind of showed how to tell a story without telling a story, and how to make you feel like a fucking badass in story moments without those story moments slowing things down. And I think that they just sort of cast that aside in this. And I was like, why did you do that? Because that was one of the key lessons of 2016. It was like, here's how you do this. Everybody else should do what we're doing because we nailed it. And I feel like they were just like, no, let's do something different this time, you know?
Yeah.
And if it was really awesome, I would be like, cool. But it's not. As I said, it just feels a little bit generic. So I personally didn't love it, you know?
I feel also that 2016 story was it wasn't exceptional, you know. I felt like the gunplay and the FPS aspect of that was exceptional, but the story that you had to like keep pressing on runes, and it would just, this voice would be like, in the first age, you know, like it wasn't. I don't think they were putting a huge emphasis on story in that. And this one, I don't feel like the story that they have been telling me, although I do feel like they've definitely tried to up their game, has really captivated me. But
fair enough.
you know, again, so look, a lot of people aren't there for story with Doom. Like, you know, that precedent has already been set, so there wasn't a high expectation there, I think.
They're there for the shooting, Sam.
They're there for the shoots.
What are your thoughts on the evolution of combat in Doom Eternal?
Look, to be honest, the combat to me still feels just as fantastic. I feel like it's been tweaked better and better than it was previously. But for me, I didn't have such a huge shock to this like I did when I played 2016 Doom. I feel like they've just doubled down on what they're doing good, and they wanted to just, you know, make this better. It is a little bit faster, for sure. But do you feel like this is another complete revolution from what they've done with 2016 Doom?
I definitely feel like this is a massive, massive evolution of combat model for Doom Eternal. Definitely.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
really?
like the double dash, the speed bonuses you get after
the
glory
double
kills,
dash, sure. The double dash, sure.
The monkey bars during combat, the meat hook, which just completely changes everything if you use it correctly. But in particular, the ammo economy, which is just a massive, massive change.
Oh, so, man. Look, the thing about, for me, the Doomslayer is you don't want to hamstring the very thing that makes you feel like the Doomslayer all the time. Every 15 seconds, I was either thinking, I'm low on ammo, or I need to now run over to some minion and chainsaw him. It was constantly on your mind, and it's okay to make sure that there's a little bit of tension between, you know, am I able to kill everything before I run out of ammo? But for me, it was over tweaked. It was like every 15 seconds, I'm always worrying about ammo.
I feel like, I understand what you're saying, and I feel like this really comes down to a choice about, you know, I think Doom 2016 is very cathartic. It's like you just sit there and you don't really have to think that hard. And you just pull the trigger and it feels fucking cool and fun and off you go, right?
Which I think is fine.
Which I think is fine, and I really enjoy that a lot. And then I feel like Doom Eternal is much more frenetic and much more sort of almost panicked because you are always running low on ammo, so you constantly need to be switching weapons to use the right weapons on the right enemy to be efficient, and then think about, well, how am I going to resupply my resources, etc. I do feel as though, coming to what I said as well, you said the same thing, is like, you know, it's a little, I feel like it's a little bit overtuned. Like, I feel like you could have done the same thing, but just maybe up the ammo caps a little bit, because I do feel, particularly at the beginning of the game, you feel quite oppressed by that ammo model, and it gets better as your ammo caps increase over time and as you get better as a player. But definitely at the beginning, I feel like it's quite a shift. You know, what I mean?
Definitely started to feel less and less of it as you did upgrade your shotguns and all. You know, you definitely did, because, you know, for instance, the shotgun, you got 2 extra rounds every time you leveled it up. I just think that a lot of people are wanting to play Doom for a certain experience.
Sure.
And to add that strategic nature to it could be cool, and a lot of people might find that really engaging.
A lot of people love it. Most people love it.
A lot of people love it, fine. I did feel a bit like it was like Resident Evil Eternal. You know, like every single room, I just felt like my focus wasn't always, you know, my focus more often than not became, I need ammo, instead of, yeah, I'm killing demons and I'm owning this room.
Sure. No, I think that's very fair.
You know what I'm saying? And I feel like,
yeah, definitely.
But having said that, you're right. It's not that bad. It doesn't destroy the game. It just means.
Well, I don't think it's bad at all. By the way, I think the ammo economy stuff.
Oh, I thought you said you didn't really like. Okay. Well,
no, I like it. I'm just saying that it's like it's a preference thing. Where like Doom 2016 is really good for just like I want to pull the trigger and kill demons, versus Doom Eternal is much more like, well, I need to be thinking about what I'm doing. I need to be paying attention. I need to be planning in advance. You know.
Yeah.
I think both are excellent. It just comes down to which one you prefer. You know.
One thing I liked in this was the puzzles. I liked the idea of having to like punch huge cubes and then, you know, things open up, or like you got to shoot things and then it like pushes you up. Every 10 to 20 minutes you are going into a room and you got to figure shit out, you know, and I kind of liked that because I wasn't sitting there doing it for too long, but it did break it up a bit too, and that was another kind of you know, tactic that they used to kind of bring down the craziness of it, and I think it was quite well handled actually. I thought the puzzling of this wasn't overly hard, but it was still actually quite fun.
Yeah, I think overall, as I said, I think this is an absolutely phenomenal game. It's one of the best first-person shooters I've ever played. It's amazing. You should buy it. I just personally, as I said, I just look at Doom 2016 and just how breakthrough that was, how sort of curated it felt from start to finish, how lean it was, do you know what I mean? And I'm like, that was it. And as I said, I just feel like with Doom Eternal, they definitely made, I think, a more fun combat model that it's just the speed of it and the verticality and the meat hook and all that shit's just so fucking awesome. But I do feel as though there are also some other things added to it that kind of like, for me, make it imperfect, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that doesn't change the fact that it's still like the best shit out right now, and you should buy it and play it, and it's amazing.
Yeah, look, I really think that I thoroughly enjoyed this. I'm not saying that I think this is a bad game at all. I think this is a fantastic game, of course, but, you know, there's going to be natural comparisons there. You know, when 2016 came along, a lot of people thought that was, you know, the next coming of Christ, you know.
And they were right.
And they were right, of course. But all in all, definitely worth buying. Guys, check it out. That is it for today, but that's pretty much it. But Doom sucks, guys, as we're pretty much saying. But we'll be here tomorrow with news. Oh, and Half-Life Alyx. We're going to be doing that in
Not
the
tomorrow,
coming days.
probably in a few days, yeah.
In the coming days, everybody. But that is it, everyone. That's all, right?
That's it.
Yes.
Laymen out.
Laymen out.